Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Chelsea just can't score goals. United get a victory and the ISL is back, baby. Welcome to the corner flag. I'm Amogh.
And I'm Aakarsh.
Hello, everybody. What a great weekend of football we've had. Lots of goals, lots of talking points. Aakarsh, you are a visibly happy man. And
relatively.
Even though there's fire all around you, I can tell that you're a visibly happy man. Why is that? Is it because Luton Town got their first point?
No, that's actually stressful. I was hoping that they just stay barren for as long as possible. But it is in spite of that, not because of that.
It is in spite of that you are a happy man. And that is because Everton have got a victory finally. A victory which is very, very important. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the first half. And that's how happy I am for you that we have put Everton in the first half of this episode.
Don't lie. It's just because I'm the only one who showed up for today's episode. You're like, Chal, let's give Everton importance to make Aakarsh happy.
That's true. It's for the people who are wondering where Prashant and Mukesh are. Actually, nobody wonders where Prashant and Mukesh are. Why are they this important? Nobody gives a fuck. But they're both sick. Mukesh has eaten some bad food and Prashant has breathed in some bad air. So I don't know what is happening, but both of them are sick. So we wish them.
However, I do want to add, I don't know if I should be saying this on air or no, but I do want to add that Mukesh is playing badminton with me early tomorrow morning. So how bad can his stomach actually be?
Okay. One thing is, how bad can his stomach actually be? Second thing is, are you sure he's playing badminton with you tomorrow morning?
I mean, he texted me about 10 minutes ago to confirm if I'm playing. So I'm going to assume that he's in.
No. You never assume that Mukesh is in for a plan. Till he's actually there.
He's not been ditching badminton.
Oh, really?
Credit where it's due. He's been quite consistent with it. And if he's ditching, one time he ditched and he didn't give us any heads up. Otherwise, he gives heads up before we can.
I feel what has happened is I don't think he's eaten bad food. I think he had plans with his girlfriend that he had forgotten about. And then his girlfriend was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we planned this. How can you now tell me?
Mera stomach.
Yeah. Mukesh, if you're listening to the podcast, which I know you're not because you're one of those fuckers who don't listen to the podcast, we know what you're up to. You're not sick. You're basically just hanging out with your girlfriend, which is fine. You can just say that. But yes, we have to begin this episode with the North London derby. Now, we did our first ever preview show on the corner flag, which is a live stream that we did on our brand new YouTube channel. So for those of you who still have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please go out and subscribe right now. It's youtube.com/@cornerflagpod. Subscribe because we're going to be putting up snippets of episodes over there, so you'll get to see extended videos from the episode, so you'll get to see how beautiful we all look when we were doing Bakchodi about football. But more than that, what we're doing is we're going to be doing live streams to preview the game. So that's 2 corner flag episodes in a week, guys. That's 2 corner flag episodes in a week. 1 live, 1 on the podcast. The podcast stays the same, but we'll start doing more YouTube live streams. So if you want to not miss out on that shit, head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe now. Aakarsh, is there any other reason why people should subscribe to our YouTube channel?
I mean, I think the biggest thing I can think of is that then everyone know how superior my football knowledge is, because I'm the only one who got the score for the North London derby right.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, that is very, very true.
Hmm.
Your predictions were on point. Yes, it was 2-2. It was a point apiece. And we spoke about this on the preview show. We said that Ange Postecoglu and Spurs should be happy with a point at the Emirates because, obviously, Arsenal are, let's be honest, a superior side to Spurs. Spurs are still a side in massive transition, even though they've had a great start to the season. And this was their first big test of the season under Ange. And to get a point from that, and to get a convincing point from that, I felt, to come back from a goal behind twice and to get a point was a very, very good result for them.
Yeah, great result for them. And I think, like you said, to come back twice against Arsenal is great. And especially to come away with a point with the way they played in that first 30-35 minutes, because they had a nervy start. You could see the pressure on them. You could see that they knew that this was their first big test of the Premier League. There were a couple of nervy situations where they came away from it fairly well. And I think a great point, some great goals. Some great goalkeeping. It was 2-2, but it could have very easily been 4-4.
Yeah, we have to give a shout out to both Guillermo Vicario for Spurs and David Raya for Arsenal. Vicario making some great saves, but David Raya also. Now that was another talking point that we had in the preview show. We don't know what we're going to call that preview show yet. We should figure out a name. But on the live stream, we spoke about how Arteta spoke about rotating the two keepers that he has at his disposal because they're both supposedly number one keepers, right? So how do you manage a situation where you have two elite level goalkeepers at the club? And he said that there is going to be a time when managers start substituting keepers in the middle of games, as you do with outfield positions, which is bullshit. And we both agree.
All of that is bullshit. I think he was saying that he's going to rotate between the keepers only to help Ramsdale keep face.
Exactly.
But like I said in the preview, Ramsdale has definitely been demoted to the cup keeper role, and I think deservedly so. I think Raya is the better keeper. He showed it in this game.
Yeah.
And I think we've discussed this many times that if you want to compete for a title, you need to have a top-notch number one.
Yeah.
I don't think Ramsdale is that. I think David Raya could be that.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, and David Raya made that fantastic save from, I think, Brennan Johnson it was. Who also
a couple of them.
Yeah, who Brennan Johnson, of course, making his full Spurs debut, playing in the number 9 role, which is an interesting one from Postecoglu. But there was a shot where the camera spanned to Aaron Ramsdale sitting on the bench and applauding the save from David Raya. And Jamie Carragher had something interesting to say about that. Jamie Carragher said that it was like when an actor misses out on winning an Oscar and then applauds the winner. That's what it felt like. And Aaron Ramsdale's dad did not like that. And he said to Jamie Carragher on Twitter to show some class because his son already had.
You know, his son only shows class for... I feel like Ramsdale's a camera goalkeeper. Everything he does is for the camera. I remember even last season, there was some game that Arsenal won 3-1.
Yeah.
But then Ramsdale was being really irritated with himself and, how could I miss the clean sheet, and was very disappointed. That's because the cameras were on him. He loves showing off for the camera. Yeah. I think that is one of the things that's annoying about him. And I'm sure he knew that, every time that Raya makes a good save, the camera is going to look for my reaction. So I agree with Carragher. He must have had that poised. He must have... I can imagine Ramsdale standing in front of the mirror and doing that "I'm proud of you" beta clap, checking which profile works better. Or काम धंधा तो है नहीं उसके पास.
But to be fair, that clap did look like it was rehearsed. No, it wasn't like a very natural clap. It was a very like... okay, cool. Like it was a very, very chutia sort of clap. So I
poised
get
for the camera.
Yeah, I get exactly where Carragher's coming from. You feel like that was his training routine. You know, you remember that episode from Friends where Joey is about to get an award, but he loses, and the camera's
gracious
on him.
Loser.
Yeah, so I feel like that's what Ramsdale did in training leading up to this game. While David Raya was working on his shot stopping and distribution. Aaron Ramsdale was in a corner just with the Arsenal media team just being like, okay, this profile, ऐसे clap करूँ, ऐसे clap करूँ. That was his training regime for this week.
And I just want to say, I hope that this puts to bed the question of who is England's number one keeper.
Right.
Because for some reason, that's always been a debate. And I think Pickford is by far the superior keeper.
Yeah.
And now that Aaron Ramsdale's not Arsenal's number one, I see absolutely no reason why he should even be in contention to be England's number one.
Yeah, absolutely. The annoying bit is I think Pickford plays really well when he's playing for England, but not really at that level when he's playing for Everton. So that's not a great thing for you.
No, I feel like Pickford is the only reason we've survived the last 2 seasons. And I think what makes a big, big difference is that when he's playing for England, he has a good defensive line plus Harry Maguire and a good midfielder in there. So I think it helps to have 10 superior players in front of you.
Right. All right. The other thing I want to talk about in this game is the penalty, because of course, just talking about the goals. The first goal was Bukayo Saka cutting in.
You're going to bring up that United handball.
Yeah, of course I am.
That's the only reason we're talking about this.
Yes, that is the only reason why we're talking about the North London derby and historically important game in the Premier League, especially where both the teams are this season. But
no,
the
I
only
mean the
reason
handball decision.
No, but okay. Do you think it was a handball?
Yeah, it was a handball.
So why the fuck wasn't Romero's handball against United given? It's the same player, it's the same team, it's the same type of handball.
So I feel like this could have actually potentially been maybe more than just a penalty as well, because if Romero's hand wasn't there, I think he was flying into the back of the net. I think he stopped a clear goal. I don't sit and watch, unlike you, I don't sit and watch United ka heartbreaking moments every day. So I don't really remember that. But from what I remember, it was a lot further out of the box. And I think the gap between the ball hitting the foot and then hitting the hand was significantly lesser.
Exactly. The thing is, that's what I mean. You're saying that the gap was significantly lesser in this instance, right?
No, in that instance.
No, dude. In fact, I felt like in this instance, the gap was lesser.
No, not really. I feel like, they were very similar situations. I think the proximity to the goal makes a difference. I think Romero's hand was a lot further away from his body in this situation. And also, I think VAR sucks and has absolutely no consistency. So I feel like we can debate these decisions till in the next year when VAR will suck even more.
So the thing is, I'll tell you, so while we're talking about VAR, right? Like I heard an interesting opinion about VAR and the inconsistencies of VAR. The thing is, even though it is video assistant referee and the referee is being assisted with like video technology, there's still men handling it. Like there's still people handling the technology, right? So the opinion that I heard was that you are going to have inconsistent decisions, and this is just going by what Howard Webb has also said on various interviews and the TV duties that he has to do as the head of PGMOL, but also because they are making mistakes and they're learning from those mistakes and trying to do better in future games, which is what is leading to the inconsistency, which I admit is a very logical explanation to the whole thing. But it is just spectacularly unfair.
No, and the flip side to that is, look, I get that whenever there's a human element, like Mike Dean said earlier in the season, there will be bias, there will be inconsistencies, there will be human error because humans are error prone.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand on the flip side is that, like you're saying, they're using men. But when it comes to offside, there is a tried and tested automated technology which is there, which doesn't need men, which we have seen function extremely well in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The Premier League has rejected that. Why? I don't understand. Secondly, again, we've had this discussion before, but the Premier League said that it's going to release audio between the on-pitch referee and the VAR.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if we could hear the conversation that was happening between the two, we can at least know what their thought process is.
Yeah.
If, for example, the Romero incident from the United handball, we had the audio to that and we had the audio to this particular handball, we could compare the two, and whether we agree or not, we'd have more of an insight into what the referees are collectively thinking.
Yeah.
But since they're not giving us that, it's a thing of, oh, why is VAR so inconsistent? Why can they not just sort their shit out?
Yeah.
Give us that insight like you promised you would,
Yeah.
and we'll have fewer doubts and fewer questions, or at least more of an explanation.
Correct. Just talking about the goals now, of course, Saka got the second goal. Of course, the penalty is what he scored. But even the first goal was a Saka shot that was deflected into the net by Christian Romero. For Spurs, it was James Maddison providing the assist to two Heung-min Son goals. The second of which was a terrible mistake by Jorginho in the middle of the field. He just caught out in possession, and Maddison capitalized on that. The interesting thing was Saka, for both the goals, did James Maddison's dart celebration very, very gleefully. And he was asked about this. Maddison was asked about this post-match, and he had something very interesting to say.
Yeah, he was asked about this and he said, oh, I noticed that he did the darts celebration. I think maybe he was still playing darts when I went around him for the second goal.
Yeah, it's a fantastic
and I like
response.
the banter. I like the banter between the North London rivals.
Of course, I mean, Maddison and Saka, both England colleagues as well and very good friends. So it's, you know, that there's no malice there, but it's still it's good that little bit of spice is there. Because the big thing is that, and when from the times that we started following the Premier League, we started following our clubs, like there was genuine bite in these derbies, which seems to have gone missing now. Like, you know, United Liverpool derby or a United Arsenal game just doesn't feel as physically mental as it used to be. You know, like we were talking about the eras of Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira going at each other. Abhi to itna kuch lagta nahi hai, but like it's nice to have some sort of needle coming back into the game. So that's really great to see for the fans, which was great. Right, let's talk about Sheffield Newcastle, because Newcastle scored 8 goals against Sheffield United. Sorry, Sheffield United, and 8 different goal scorers. So I feel like, Aakarsh, with Luton and with Sheffield now, that's 2 relegation spots that are pretty much sorted.
Yeah, and even Burnley don't look great. Like we all thought.
No. Burnley look great, but it doesn't count for shit. They play good football, but it doesn't count for shit. With Sheffield, they're playing terrible. Like, they were slow against Newcastle. It was like playing FIFA on amateur mode. Like, you're playing as Man City against, Accrington Stanley on amateur mode, and you're just cutting through their entire team. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I feel like Sheffield, I think Sheffield, Luton, for them, they want to be one of those yo-yo clubs that come into the Premier League every alternate year.
Yeah.
And we'll have to slowly build from that. But yeah, I don't see either of those 2 clubs staying up at all.
Yeah, and it does look like Paul Heckingbottom will be the first casualty in this Premier League season. I don't remember who our predictions were for first manager to get the sack, but whoever's predicted Paul Heckingbottom is probably in with a shoe-in for winning that one, because I don't see how they can continue with him at the helm. It is just not working out for them.
Yeah, it isn't, but I feel like it's not just the manager, it's also the players. It's one of those things of, I don't think there's a quick fix to this.
Yeah.
I think Sheffield United need a few transfer windows to be able to fix this.
Yeah.
And by the time they get those couple of transfer windows, they're going to be back in the championship.
Yeah. And the thing that you said about both these clubs, Luton and Sheffield, wanting to be yo-yo clubs, I feel like that is true for Luton, considering this is their first season back in the Premier League after fucking many years. And they are obviously the biggest underdogs of all underdogs, and it is spectacular that they're there, because again they finished 6th in the championship last season. They won through the playoffs, right? So it's not like they were always going to make it to the Premier League. It was quite a long drawn out process for them. And
I think 6 years ago they were in the National League, so I think their rise up has just been spectacular,
right? But you do get a sense, and I'm sure even they feel that they're not a club that are ready for the Premier League just yet. And that's not a bad thing. Spending a season in the Premier League and going down, getting the parachute payments from the Premier League for the next 2 years, and then using that money to build slowly and then come back up is a great way to go about it. No doubt about that. But I don't think that's the case with Sheffield, man, because Sheffield have been a Premier League club for many years before this. And they are a
Not
slightly bigger club.
many years. Yeah, how many years?
They have been a Premier League club. Like they were under
3 in the last 10.
But Chris Wilder at Sheffield United was such a big deal.
Yeah, but that was 2 seasons.
Yeah, but they've historically always been a Premier League club. I feel like they've always been around.
Not at all. I don't think. I can't think of them being in the Premier League for more than this. Might be their 3rd season over the last 2 decades. I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I know. I feel like they're more of an established top flight team than Luton, and I don't think that the parachute payments are the way to go for them. I feel like they at the profile of club that they are, I feel like they should be gunning for that 15th, 16th place finish on the regular to stay in the Premier League. At least for the next 3-4 seasons, and then kind of build on that.
I mean, I think the Premier League's become very, very, very difficult. Yeah, now.
That's true.
You have teams like Everton and Wolves who are your 15th, 16th place teams.
Yeah.
You've got a Chelsea who's been languishing in the bottom half of the table since last season.
Yeah.
So I think for a Sheffield United to come in and be expected to be in that 15th spot, I think is asking too much. Maybe if I had to pick any of the 3 teams, I would say Burnley would ideally be trying to be that team that narrowly avoids relegation.
Yeah.
But Sheffield and Luton, honestly, personally, and I think even in my predictions, I know for a fact that I had Sheffield and Luton going down. I'm not entirely sure about Burnley. But those 2 clubs, it's going to be a long journey for them before they become Premier League regulars.
Absolutely. Now, with 8 goals, Newcastle, 8 different goal scorers. So that's fantastic. Kieran Trippier had a great game with multiple assists. And some great assists, like pinpoint crosses. But the first goal that Anthony Gordon provides for Sean Longstaff to slot in. Now, there was a lot of controversy about whether the ball went out of play or not. And that was the big question that the Sheffield United players and even the commentators were asking about. And VAR even checked that if the ball went out. And I think the correct decision was made because all of the ball was not all outside. So the ball wasn't completely out of play. However, something that you and I caught that apparently none of the players or even the commentators or even VAR seem to have clocked is that Gordon handballed it.
Yeah, Gordon definitely handballed it. And in fact, it was that handball that made the ball stay in play.
Correct.
But no one seemed to be discussing it except, I think, Sean Longstaff. Because when Sean Longstaff scored, immediately he didn't celebrate at all. First, his eyes went to the referee. Yeah. Then his eyes went to the linesman. Then he was like, okay, there's no flag up. The referee seems to have blown for a goal. He went to Anthony Gordon. And if you look at the celebration really carefully, he asks Gordon something and then looks back at the linesman again. And you can see Gordon say, no.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was, did the ball go outside or handball, but there was clearly uncertainty about that goal. And I have no idea. Again, we have to bitch about VAR over here because they must have spent so much time just looking at, is the ball in, is the ball out? They wouldn't have seen the clip 2 seconds prior to that where the ball was clearly kept in by a clear handball.
Yeah, and not only was it kept in by the handball, it provided Gordon a lot more control of the ball.
Absolutely.
Right? And that is a clear advantage that the handball is given. Whether it was intentional or unintentional is besides the point. The fact that the handball has played such a big part in the build-up to the goal should make that goal not stand. And Newcastle should be getting a 7-0 victory. And I feel Sheffield United will feel robbed.
Yeah, absolutely. And the handball rule has been very ambiguous for very long. But I think the one clarity that has been there is that if there is contact with the ball by any attacker in the build-up to a goal, it will be disallowed. Yeah. And I think this was blatantly ignoring that rule.
Yeah. In terms of rules being ignored and we are being bitched about, of course, let's talk about Everton, because Everton managed to get the 3-1 victory over Brentford, but it wasn't that easy, was it, Aakarsh?
No, it wasn't. And honestly, again, I said this in the preview episode, but I got a dream that the game was going to be 3-1 to Everton. And I was like, obviously that is incorrect. Everton can't score 3 goals. And so in my predictions, I flipped it around to 3-1 to Brentford because that seemed to make sense. But 3 goals, which is more than they've scored all season, and it could have very, very easily been more.
Yeah. It was...
But getting to that VAR point, Everton scored the first goal, should have had at least a couple more. Doucouré hit the post, McNeil and Mikolenko missed a simple one, and then against the run of play, Brentford gets a goal.
Yeah.
And then they go into a VAR check, and I was watching this game live, so I suddenly found God and became religious and was praying for an offside.
Yeah.
And the commentator said, oh, the VAR room has already told the on-pitch referee that they're going to need some time with this because this is really, really close. The lines are going to have to be drawn. The crosshairs are coming out. So for about 3 minutes, I was staring at the screen through my fingers. And I think in the 4th minute of the VAR check, they drew the lines and the red line came on and it was offside.
Yeah.
And then very swiftly, they moved on past that and then gave the goal.
What?
And I was like, wait, but I saw the red lines. How is this happening? I saw the red lines. I am not imagining it. It was very clearly offside. And even the commentator said, looking at it from a naked eye, that looks like a clear offside. Brentford are not going to get their 1 goal.
Yeah.
And then they swiftly moved on. And I was absolutely livid because I was like, this is again corruption and they want Everton to go down. And then at about halftime, when I saw that goal back, I realized that the VAR room spent 4 minutes looking at the wrong pass. They were looking at a pass where Wissa was offside. But Wissa didn't get the ball. The ball went in the opposite direction. So they got the crosshairs out, they drew the line, they made it offside, and then they realized, oh, actually this play didn't matter at all because Vissa's not receiving the ball.
Wow.
So it was just, I mean, how incompetent can you be when you don't know which pass you have to check for offside?
I feel
and
like
you spent 4 minutes.
I feel what's happening in the VAR room that they don't show, because they've stopped showing the VAR room anymore on camera. If you've noticed, when VAR first came out, at the start of the game and all, they used to give a cutaway to the VAR room and show the officials who are sitting there. And now suddenly that stopped happening.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
It's toddlers. You remember those Flipkart commercials where there were kids pretending to be adults?
Yeah.
That's the VAR room now. That's why they're not releasing the audio, because I would pay to listen to the audio for this decision. Where for 4 minutes they're like, is it offside? Check properly, zoom in more. Oh yes, it's offside. And then they would have played it. It's like, oh, the ball's going in the opposite direction. Never mind. Move on.
It's like the panic that they must have gone through. Like, boss, we've spent 4 minutes, but there's an issue. This one doesn't matter. Okay, what are we going to do? We've wasted 4 minutes. Should we spend some more time? I don't know. Just say words, dude. Just say words. Like, the clock is ticking. Just say words. Kuch bhi bolo. Jo bolna hai bolo. Just say something. I don't know what to say. And the clock is just ticking. And eventually they've kind of figured it out. But yeah, it's a good 3 points for Everton though. Great 3 points.
Great 3 points. Great 3 points. And like before the game, I was feeling like Everton need one of those. Last season, it was a Brentford-Everton game where Brentford were beaten 5-1. I feel like Everton needs that kind of performance. They got that kind of performance, but more importantly, they scored the goals. And I think scoring 3 goals, having 3 separate goal scorers is great, because I was looking at some stats, as I always do.
Yeah.
Everton have created more big chances than any team except for Man City. They have created 14 big chances. Man City have 15, and then third is Brighton, Tottenham and Brentford, all on 13 each. Wow. So we've just not been able to find the back of the net, because we've created the second most big chances, but we've scored fewer goals than any team except for, I think, Luton and Burnley. So that's quite telling. But I know that Sean Dyche is a corner flag fan, because I know that he heard the preview where for really long I complained about how shit Ashley Young is at set pieces and how we have the tallest team, but we're not using our set pieces properly, and Young needs to be removed from all set piece duties. First goal, Dwight McNeil corner, back of the net. Second goal, James Garner corner, back of the net. So it's just, and it's Sean Dyche. Sean Dyche teams are great at set pieces. I don't know why it took him so long to do that.
Yeah.
And I think if it was for a couple of simple tweaks, like taking Ashley Young off of corners like 4 games ago, like not starting Michael Keane over Jared Branthwaite. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Jared Branthwaite is going to go the John Stones route. He's composed on the ball. He can find a great pass. Pep is going to be paying Everton a ridiculous amount of money because Branthwaite is and will be long-term starting centre-back for England and probably Manchester City.
Maybe Manchester United. चलना एक तो हम लोग को दे दो ना यार. चलना. We give you Ashley Young.
See, Manchester City goes. Look, first, you give us Ashley Young.
We gave you Ashley Young.
I mean, if you want to say something, you say we gave you James Garner because that man is impressive. Ashley Young's just been shit.
We've given you Phil Neville.
We've given you Rooney and Fellaini.
And we've given you Rooney back.
But you've also given us Darren Gibson and Tom Cleverley and fucking Morgan Schneiderlin and shit like that.
And Donny van
the
de Beek.
centre backs. And Donny van de Beek was on loan. Chalo, at least we didn't spend too much money on it. But
we gave you Tim Howard.
You gave us Tim Howard. Fine, that was 20 years ago.
We gave you Louis Saha. Or did you give us Louis Saha? No, we gave you Louis Saha.
No, you gave us Louis Saha.
Come on.
But
इतना goodwill है यार. एक तो चलो ना यार. John Stones was very unhappy.
United has very bad taste in centre backs. You will not want Jared Branthwaite.
That's true.
Michael Keane, on the other hand, he might make a return to United.
Yeah.
That's the route United will go.
I feel like United's pursuit of centre backs is like a classic rom-com film. Just always going after the wrong girl. It's basically that.
Totally.
It's the vibe.
While the best friend / rival gets the actual good girl.
Exactly. And Everton are now out of the relegation zone. They're in 15th place with 4 points. Just 1 point behind Chelsea, who we'll talk about in the second half. But happy days for Everton. Very quickly, City also beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. The one-time Champions League winners beating the two-time Champions League winners very, very clearly. Rodri getting a red card. Clear red.
Oh, clear red. I don't know what he was thinking. It's a Nottingham Forest. It's not a high-intensity match. Why are you choking your opponent? How are you expecting to get away with that?
Absolutely. Right. On the other side of the podcast, because we'll be taking a break now, on the other side, we will be talking about Chelsea's struggles in front of goal and their big recent loss to Aston Villa. We'll also talk about the United game and some ISL chat, because the ISL has kicked off. See you on the other side.
Picture yourself wrapped in its softness. Whether you're enjoying a captivating TV show, gathered around a crackling campfire, or cheering for your favorite football team, Minky understands your fall cravings. Our blankets are tailor-made for those heartwarming autumn vibes. With a variety of colors, they're perfect for complementing the hues of fall, as well as showing off your team pride with their vibrant team colors. And the best part? We've got sizes for the whole family, ensuring that everyone can experience the joy of cozying up in Minky's embrace. This fall, let Minky be your companion in creating unforgettable moments. Wrap yourself in comfort, share love, and relish the essence of the season. Minky Blankets, where warmth meets love in every color for every moment. Fall into one of our Minky Couture stores or visit us online at minkycouture.com.
Welcome back to the Conflag, everybody. And we don't have questions this week because, again, I was lazy and I didn't put them up. So my bad, guys. But you know what? You can just keep messaging us on Monday. Don't wait for us to put out the story. In general, we've been doing this for a while. So it's your fault, listeners. It's your fault. Reflecting straight on you. Monday को सीधा message करो यार Instagram पे. Email करो, message करो, जो भी है. Just reach out and ask questions.
I'm sure our fans are like, oh, Monday hai. They've not put out questions. They're probably not doing it this week.
That's true.
Forget about it.
That's true. Mukesh is probably unwell or late. Prashant is in Dubai, so he's probably doing all the Dubai things. I don't want to say anything bad about the two of us because we're the only ones who showed up. So yeah, we are better than everybody else.
Better not.
Yeah.
I'll log out right now.
Yeah, it's a weirdly short podcast. As always, we begin the second half with end. We do not begin the
Thank
second
you to
half.
Kesat Garda. Follow us on Instagram.
वो भी हम लोग पिछले एपिसोड से कट पेस्ट कर लेंगे. No, but so let's go to Chelsea, right? Because Chelsea could not score yet again. They lost 1-0 to Aston Villa at Stamford Bridge. The big news is that apparently Chelsea will be giving their Goal of the Month award to somebody from their under-23s team because the first team hasn't scored in all of September. Now, that is damning. That is absolutely fucking damning.
It is, but it's not surprising because I don't remember the last time. I think since Diego Costa left, I can't remember Chelsea having a solid striker. They've always had a problem with that number 9 spot. They've been flirting with Lukaku and getting him and then sending him off. But it doesn't take a genius to realize that they need a striker that knows the back of the net.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, what's his face? Nicholas Jackson, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Had a couple of good opportunities, and if there was a good striker, and I get that he's young, I get that he needs time, I get that he needs more games, but when you're Chelsea, you can't just have a young, inexperienced striker. You've spent a absolutely ridiculous amount of money this season, but you still don't have someone who knows how to find the back of the net.
Yeah, and this is again what we keep saying about Chelsea, right? Like Todd Bowley is fucking ridiculous in the transfer market, and I just love to see the Chelsea fans' defense of their transfer strategy. No, we are exploiting a loophole because we are amortizing the payments, and it's just sad that other clubs aren't doing it. But bhai, other clubs are not doing it because other clubs, and I include United in this mess, United who historically are terrible in transfer windows, have no clear strategy in terms of their director of football or anything. उन लोग के पास भी दिमाग है कि ऐसा नहीं कर सकते. ऐसा तू 15 प्लेयर लाएगा एक ट्रांसफर विंडो में तो नहीं चलेगा भाई. ऐसे कौन करता है? और वो भी you are getting 15 players who are all young, who are all inexperienced, and none of whom are addressing the one big problem that you have.
I think the problem with I think there's two problems with Chelsea's transfer strategy. I think one is that Liverpool didn't really go for a striker this season. So Chelsea didn't know who to poach.
Correct, yes.
Because clearly that's a very important part of their transfer strategy. Yeah. The second thing I think is that, like you mentioned, they have spread out the contracts over 8 years because financial fair play and all that. So maybe they're like, okay, we'll get the goals also spread out over 8 years because lamba contract, so you have to pepper out the goals throughout the contract. Yeah. And I think that's just backfired on them. And I think next season, I can see Mo Salah probably moving on from Liverpool and going to the Saudi League, and Liverpool will be in the market for strikers. So I look forward to seeing Chelsea sign Liverpool's top target.
Correct. And still fucking it up because Chelsea have historically fucked up number 9s. Fernando Torres, Andriy Shevchenko, Samuel Eto'o, Lukaku, Aubameyang. The list goes on and fucking on. अगर तुम स्ट्राइकर अल्वारो मोराटा, गोंजालो हिगुआइन, fucking अगर तू स्ट्राइकर है ना तो you stay the fuck away from Chelsea. If you have any respect for your career as a striker, तू Chelsea के पास आ भी मत. Like, it is a fucking joke of a club. And I love the fact that Chelsea fans say, oh, game week 4 and you guys are already making judgments. हाँ तो अभी हो गया, अभी game week 6 भी हो गया. क्या हो रहा है आगे? तुम लोग स्कोर नहीं कर रहे हो. इतना प्लेयर है, उसका क्या है? चटनी बना रहे हो तुम लोग. क्या हो क्या रहा है? But it's all good, Aakash. It's all good. Regardless of all the criticism that we have for Chelsea and their lack of a transfer strategy, because let's be honest, they don't have one. It's all good because they've won the Champions League. So it's all great.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Right. So Chelsea fans, because you won the Champions League, it completely absolves you from being absolutely atrocious and shit this season. Let's also talk about the Malo Gusto red card. Now we off air had a big discussion about this, but I don't think it was I don't think it should have been kept as a yellow card. I think it was a clear red.
I disagree. I feel like the original on-pitch decision of a yellow card was correct because in my opinion, it was a bad tackle, but he got the ball and then went through the man. And I think for that, a yellow card is okay. With VAR, what I felt happened is that because they stared at that freeze frame of Gusto's foot making contact with the ankle for so long, that freeze frame looks terrible, right? It makes it look like an ankle breaker. I don't think it was really an ankle breaker, and I think he did get the ball. But for a follow through, he should have gotten the yellow for sure. But I don't think it was a straight red tackle. And I'm not saying that just because I have him in my FPL backline. I just want to clarify that.
No, but I'm just saying, we do not believe you at all, Aakarsh. But I'm just saying, the thing is, no, just because he got the ball doesn't mean that it wasn't serious foul play, right? The tackle was a very reckless tackle. He wasn't in control of his tackle, and that is why it was given as a red card. I feel like even though he makes contact with the ball first, he doesn't make clean contact with the ball. It's just barely a touch on the ball that happens first before he clatters into the man. And that just goes to show that he was not in control of his tackle, and which is why I feel like in this one rare instance, VAR got it right. And the correct decision was made because the on-field referee's decision of a yellow card was the incorrect decision. It was a clear and obvious error that was being rectified by the VAR.
You know what we should start doing, which I've just had this idea. I think when this episode goes out tomorrow, we should, since we forgot to put questions today anyways, we should put out a question to our fans tomorrow and ask them what their thought is. Because I see where you're coming from, but I disagree. So I'd love to know what our
We'll put it out.
We'll
put it out on our social media. You let us know, get in touch, and tell us what you thought about this, especially Chelsea fans, because we love interacting with those guys. It's a lot of fun. United, let's talk about United now, because they finally got a victory and they finally got a fucking clean sheet. Andre Onana had a great performance, 1-0 win over Burnley at Burnley. Onana making some good saves as well. So you're just putting that horrendous error from the previous game week.
Those horrendous errors.
No, it wasn't multiple errors. It was just one error against Bayern Munich. The others were goals that were shoddy defending. And you can't really blame the goalkeeper for those, because the goalkeeper is the last man of defense. And you can't really blame the goalkeeper for goals that go in like that. You can blame the defense for it. But regardless,
but I think in the Bayern game, the first two goals he could have avoided, and isn't there some crazy stat of he's faced 12 shots on target and 10 have gone in, or something on those lines? Yeah. So I feel
again,
like
nobody said he was a good shot stopper. They just said he was great with his feet. So there is that excuse.
It's he the Harry Maguire replacement that you all have been looking for a while.
Somebody put out a great social media post where it was a photo of Onana with Maguire's face superimposed on him, which was fucking hilarious because it looks damn funny.
I'm sure Maguire, I think the thing that must be irritating Maguire the most about the fact that he's not on the pitch for any of these things is that he can't go and yell at Onana back Onana had in that friendly.
Maguire's WhatsApping him while the game is going on. Sending him voice notes.
Bata.
No, but it was a great game because United had to fight hard. And luckily they did, and they ended the first half also 1-0 up. So great goal from Bruno Fernandes.
I'm sorry, but I have to say, kya din aa gaye. You're so excited about the fact that United fought hard against Burnley. The keeper made lots of saves to keep a clean sheet, and it was a 1-0 victory against Burnley. And you're so excited. Oof.
Give me that, dude.
Even I feel bad for you. I'm an Everton fan.
It was a 12:30 a.m. kickoff. I stayed up for the game, and most of the times when I stay up for a United game, it ends in fucking just depression. It ruins my sleep. It ruins my night. It ruins my next day. For once, they did me a solid and gave me 3 points to be happy about. So whether it was Burnley or Luton, I wouldn't give a shit. It's victory. It's 3 points. The boys played well, as Inzamam ul Haq says. Well done. So Johnny Evans starting the game was a big deal because, again, lots has been made about Johnny Evans re-signing with the club. I feel like it's a good signing. It's a good backup signing. And
Again, kya din aa gaya? Because there was a time when Everton were very strongly linked with him when he was a free agent, and Everton fans were like, "Fuck no, we can't have Johnny Evans. Let's not Johnny Evans." And you're like, "Oh, Johnny Evans is a great signing for United." And
Yeah. Don't you think you would have actually liked him in your back for now?
no, I'm happy with Tarkowski and Brunswick.
Okay, fine. No, so Evans actually got the goal, but was not given because Højlund was adjudged to be offside and impeding
And
the
you
keeper's vision.
disagree?
I kind of disagree, but I feel like if there is an offside decision that we should talk about, it's from the Mumbai City game, which we'll get to. But Evans was involved in the actual goal because he played a lovely through ball, overhead lob through ball with his weaker foot for Bruno Fernandes to slot in on the volley. Very Robin Van Persie against Aston Villa-esque, if you remember that goal, which I don't think you would because you're not a United geek. So I don't know why you would remember that. And to go into halftime 1-0 up was very good. So, overall, very, very nice game. I'm very
So the
happy
question still stands. Have you all finally found that Harry Maguire replacement that you all have been craving?
Yeah, in 35-year-old Johnny Evans. That's where it is at.
Impressive.
Yeah, I just feel like this team just needs to now push on from this result. And the fact that Amrabat also made a cameo appearance, made his United debut. Of course, we didn't see him an awful lot to make any judgment on how good or bad he is. But the fact that he's now ready and able to be involved in games is a good thing because the United injury list is fucking ridiculous. And the quicker we get our players back, the better it is for the team because we are literally, मतलब अपाहिज की तरह हम लोग behave कर रहे हैं. We don't have the players.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think this slim, narrow 1-0 victory against relegation contenders Burnley is definitely the springboard to success that United has been craving.
Yeah. Small joys, bro. Small joys. Can't even deny it. Like, can't even deny the banter on this one. Now, what to do?
The Chelsea fans must be like, हमें भी चाहिए 1-0 victory against Burnley. Come on, Chelsea.
Chalega. Even if we lose 2-1 against Burnley, that's fine, but we'll have scored a goal. So that's your stepping stone.
Yeah.
Small victories again. Should we talk about Liverpool 3, West Ham 1, or should we just gloss over it because Mukesh isn't here?
I mean, I feel like we should just say that in the preview, apart from Mukesh, all of us said that Liverpool were going to drop points and it'll be the upset that Moyes has been craving and all. Ghanta, none of that happened. But yeah, apart from that, we can swiftly move on.
Why should we even say that we were wrong and Mukesh was right?
I mean, I feel like that we should own up to our thing of, okay, because I was quite sure it'll be 2-1 to West Ham or something like that, but...
Moyes couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. But yes, Liverpool 3-1 West Ham. Brighton 3-1 Bournemouth. That was another 3-1 victory. Good performance by Brighton, especially after their European problems where they did not get off to a great start in Europe, in their maiden campaign in Europe, which is, again, understandable. First campaign, so hota hai. But back to the Premier League, back to winning ways. Fuck, they're a scary looking team, man.
They're a scary looking team, for sure. And again, like I said, apart from City and Everton, they've created the most number of chances. They've scored some amazing goals. And I feel like they could be the team that pull a Newcastle this season and sneak into the top 4, or at least are constantly troubling the teams in the top 4.
Yeah.
It really annoys me how good the top half of the Premier League is.
Yeah.
And how Everton's not a part of that. But like with your Newcastle United and Brentford and to an extent, Brentford, but definitely Brighton, the European spots are just too tight, man.
They're very difficult. It's very difficult. It's
Aston Villa being in there. Yeah. I feel like that top 4, top 6 is gone because Chelsea have definitely dropped out of that. United are like on the fringes of that top 5, top 6 wali feeling. But Brighton have very clearly broken into that elite. Newcastle United have broken into that elite. Aston Villa has been doing really, really well. I don't think anyone except for the top 2 spots, maybe top 3 spots being City, Arsenal, Liverpool, anything can happen below the 4th spot.
I think anything can happen below the first spot.
Yeah, sure. I feel like first two is confirmed, but I think Arsenal and Liverpool look like they're going to maintain that push, and they will push City slightly and all that jazz. But they do look, I think Arsenal and Liverpool do look a notch above the other teams that we've mentioned.
Yeah. Luton also got their first point of the season. They're still firmly rooted in the relegation zone with fellow newly promoted teams, Sheffield and Burnley, all three on 1 point each. But a point for Luton is a good thing. Hopefully this can be their springboard to further points in the Premier League this season. And even though we know that they're going to go down, realistically, we just still hope that they can provide some sort of happiness to the fans at Kenilworth Road. And do something. So good on them for getting their first point of the season. Could have actually had a victory. They played quite well.
Yeah, but they did play quite well. But for a large chunk of the game, they were playing against 10 men, which definitely would have helped.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think every point is going to be special for those fans, because I'm sure that none of the fans are expecting them to stay up. And I think it's just a ride of enjoy these 38 games and then become a solid championship team who's in the top 5 constantly.
Absolutely.
But I think every point is going to be a massive celebration for that club.
Absolutely. Right. Let's move our attention to the Indian Super League now, because the ISL kicked off on the 21st of September. It is back. Indian club football rather, is back. The opening game was, of course, Kerala Blasters versus Bengaluru FC, which Kerala Blasters won 2-1. Now that's fantastic because if you remember in the last match that these two played, there was the big controversy with Kerala Blasters walking off because Sunil Chhetri took the quick free kick and it was given. So it was a match
in
with
the playoffs, right?
In the playoffs, yeah, in the playoff quarterfinals, I think it was. And so lots of needle in this game, and for KBFC to come up with the victory is a good result for them, and hopefully they can kind of build on that. Odisha also winning against Chennai in 2-0. Roundglass Punjab, or Punjab FC as they're now known, who are the debutants in the ISL this season after having won the I-League last season. So historic campaign for them as well. The first time an I-League club has been promoted to the Indian Super League. And hopefully, we'll, as the league progresses, we'll get to see more of the relegation and promotion dynamics in Indian football. So it was great. But they went up against Mohun Bagan, who were, of course, the ISL playoff winners. So it was always going to be a tough opening fixture for them. They did manage to get a goal. The final result was 3-1 to Mohun Bagan. So it'll be interesting to see how Punjab does. But Mumbai City FC, the club that we both love and follow, also kicked off their campaign last night against Northeast United, away game to Northeast United. Northeast United, a completely different team this season, because last season they had an atrocious season. They were bottom of the league. They got, I think, just one victory in the entire season, which was just a very, very poor season for them. And this season, it just looks like they are not going to be an automatic pushover. They are going to give a fight, and they've got a new coach in Juan Pedro Benali, who looks a bit like Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, he does. He looks like, I feel like Rafa needs to be speaking to his father and being like, what have you been up to, Dad?
yeah, but he's easier. And Mumbai won the game 2-1. 2 goals from Pereira Diaz getting the goals. Prabir getting the goal for Northeast United. We have to give a shout out to Falguni Singh from Northeast United, who did make an appearance for Northeast United in the second half of the game. But just earlier yesterday, we received devastating news that his father had passed away. So our condolences to Falguni, and just massive respect for showing up for his team, and just in the face of utmost adversity and emotional issues. To go out there and perform for your team is a big deal. So our thoughts go out to him and his family during this difficult time, and we hope that he can bounce back and push on and have a great season for his team.
Yeah, I didn't know that, to be honest, and I think it's always special when a player can go out there and perform and be going through that emotional roller coaster. So big up to him.
Yeah, Mumbai could have had a third goal though, which
Mumbai did have a third goal.
Yeah, Mehtab Singh putting in the header, but it was given as offside because Changte was apparently impeding the goalkeeper's line of vision, which was just an atrociously bad decision.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was a silly decision. I can't wait for when VAR comes to the ISL, because I
Yeah.
feel like it would be interesting to see whether this one would stand or not.
Yeah.
And also, it'll be great to see how us Indians use VAR, because we're clearly definitely going to be better than the Brit fucks.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to technology, Indians are just better. Let's be honest. Like world over,
yeah.
अगर computer use करना है तो हिंदुस्तानी आदमी best है. भाई लोग, that is just the way it works. It is a stereotype, but it is how it works. But great opening day for Mumbai City FC. Of course, they lost their first game against Nasaji Mazandaran in the Asian Champions League. It was a 2-0 loss away from home. But it is going to be interesting how Des Buckingham's team kind of play out this campaign, because the ISL and the ACL are happening parallelly, which is for the first time this is happening. So there are a lot of games to play in this campaign, and it's just going to be interesting to see how Des works this out with the team. Next game is against Odisha, which is again going to be a big one, because lots of former Mumbai City players have transferred to Odisha. The coach Sergio Lobera was at Mumbai City, and he won the league and playoff double with Mumbai City before Des Buckingham took over. So it is going to be a fantastic game, and Odisha look like they mean business with their 2-0 victory over Chennai as well. So that's going to be a big one. But the first home game, guys, is on the 8th of October at the Mumbai Football Arena, and it's a big one again because it is Mumbai City FC versus Kerala Blasters. It is a historic rivalry. Both sets of fans hate each other, and it's always a great atmosphere at the Mumbai Football Arena. So get your tickets now on Book My Show or on MumbaiCityFC.com.
Yeah, I can't wait, and I'm gonna try and make sure I am there for that game. I'm not sure about work commitments yet, but I think I want to just buy a season ticket, so that then it's just a thing of I have the ticket, it's happening in Andheri, and I just show up for pretty much every game.
Pretty much. Right. On that note, it is time to end this episode of The Conflag. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought of this episode, you can reach us on our social media. You can find Aakarsh on Instagram at
Aakarsh Chandan.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Amogh and Aakarsh. You can also follow The Conflag on Instagram and Twitter at @ConflagPod. Please do go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. It is youtube.com/@ConflagPod. Go over there, subscribe. You'll get access to live streams. You'll get access to snippets from the episodes that we do. We're trying to create a lot more content, but the more of you who subscribe, the more live streams we can do, the more cool things that we can start putting up on that YouTube channel. And we have massive plans this season and in the coming seasons, but we need your help. So go out there, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends to go and subscribe as well. The more you guys subscribe and the more you guys watch, it is better for us and we get to do more cool shit. But we can't do it if we don't have the subscribers. So please go out and subscribe. Also subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And do not forget to leave us a 5-star review. Shout out to Kezad Gurda for composing our theme tune. And until next week, it is goodbye from us. So say bye, Aakarsh.
Bye, guys.
And it's bye from me.